Let me try it again. Hey! Yeah. It's good to see you. Hey, you're late. I mean, were you in Asia? Yes, it is. Hey, welcome back, by the way, Asia. Well, welcome back. Yeah, she's famous. They put her on a map. That's how important she is. That's how important she is. Okay, so we got real quick a little housekeeping thing we're going to do. We're going to clean the church. No, that's different housekeeping. Last week, last week or the week before, I don't even remember. A couple people won at Lightning or won at something here. Maybe it wasn't a light. So I just know it was Dakota and Hunter won gift cards. Was that last week? That was 2 weeks ago. So guys, there's yours. There's yours. Good job. Hey, we have the youngest member of Parkhill Youth with us back here. Hey, Alex, you going to introduce this little nerd? Emerson's. Okay. So if you want to hold a baby, you can't do it. So, talking to the girls. Talking to the girls. Okay, we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. We are going to start out in our small groups. And then after that, we'll come back together. So, head off to your small groups. If you don't know where your small group is, usually our freshmen and sophomores are over here, 7th and 8th graders over there, and juniors and seniors are in the parking lot. No. Yeah, I bet you will. I bet you will. All right. Head on off.
Hello, whoa. How's it going, guys? You guys are awesome. I'm glad you're here, Taryn. We're mostly glad you're here. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, does anybody remember, you probably don't, Dakota. Does anyone remember what the 30 days, $30 for 30 days challenge is for Speed the Light? Look at that. Dakota actually knows what he's talking about. I like it, Dakota. Yes. So the challenge is, all you have to do is save $1 a day for 30 days. And then there's a deadline. We'll tell you the deadline later because I really don't know what it is. But there will be a night where we collect the $30 for the 30 days for $30. $30, 30 days, whatever it is. But anyways, if you guys want to go on a trip with us at all this year, we're going to have you fill out medical release forms. And if you need one of those, just go talk to Ken if you need one of those after youth group, because he may or may not have any. If we don't have any this week, we'll get you some next week. But who's ever been to camp before? Who likes to go to camp? Who's going to camp this year? Who signed up to go to camp this year? Like Malachi and Maddie and Addie. 3 people signed up to go to camp. And Sapphire, wow. So if you have not signed up to go to camp, sign up to go to camp. Because if anyone's ever actually been to camp, you know how awesome camp is. Dakota? Dude, I could tell you. No, you're good. Hey, guys, listen up. Listen up. We're almost done with announcements. So if you guys want to sign up for those, middle school camp is July 26th through the 31st. High school camp is July 12th through the 17th. And I believe if you sign up before May and pay, it is cheaper. A little bit cheaper, like what, $50 cheaper? $40 cheaper. So sign up for camp, get ready. It's going to be an awesome time. We're going to have a lot of fun. God's going to do a lot of good things. So if you haven't signed up, just contact whoever. And we're also, guys, if any of you remember, so in June, the 17th through the 19th, they're doing the Royal Rangers, so the younger guys go up to Ranger Mountain, and it's called Boys Mountain Adventure. If you want to go to that, just talk to Ronnie, and you guys can go as just like a leader, or just go help out, or go hang out with the kids and have a good time. But, yeah, that's all I have for announcements. Hannah, I think you're up.
Hello. Is this on? Okay. How are you all? Good. I'm good. I'm really overwhelmed. I'm packing and moving and Anyway, so what did God do for you this week? Someone besides the peanut gallery. What did God do for you this week? Any volunteers? Okay, Dakota, what did God do? Cool. Yeah. Oh, wait, I think we forgot something. Any new friends here? Oh, yes. So I know Lydia from Hardin, but I don't think you guys know her. Yeah. Yeah, I was homeschooled. So, okay, who knows? Okay, I'll throw it to you. Not with the mic.
Yeah, because you might throw the mic instead. Can you catch? Okay, that's going to be good.
Okay, so we welcome you. All right. Okay, what did God do for you? One more person. Okay, stand up and say it. Yeah, you gotta stand up and say it. Yeah, I'm so spacey right now. Maybe. I was just gonna make you say it anyway, you know. You have to tell me first. Yes, Maddie. Or no, not Maddie. I'm sorry. I have been like, yeah, really out of it. A good grade on your test. Yes. Okay. Okay, so has anyone been doing the Bible engagement project? Okay, so do you remember from last week what the purpose of Proverbs is? Okay, the purpose of Proverbs, remember we were talking about it in our lesson last week? Proverbs. Any volunteers? Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, so the purpose of Proverbs is to teach people wisdom in discipline. Okay, another one. How many days till Hannah and Nathan's wedding? My wedding. Pretty close. You're really close. It's May 8th. So someone said 17 days. It is 16 days. Okay. Okay, in the daily Proverbs, it asks you to memorize Proverbs 2:1. Can anyone quote it? Okay. It says Proverbs 2:1, my child, listen to what I say and treasure my commands. All right.
I knew it was going to happen. Okay, let's hope this goes good. All right, guys. Well, we're going to open up into worship. If you guys want to stand and join us, feel free to spread out to where you're comfortable. It's really acoustic tonight, so we're really going to need everyone's participation. Otherwise, it's going to sound funny. So it's for the Lord. Saturday was silent, surely it was through. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? And Friday's disappointment, Sunday's empty too. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? And this is the sound of dry bones rattling. And this is the praise make a dead man to save and deliver and heal and restore anything that he wants to. Just ask the man who was thrown on the bones of Elisha if there's anything that he can't do. Just ask the stone that was thrown at the tomb in the garden what happens when God says to move. I feel him moving it now. I feel him doing it now. I feel him doing it now. Do it now. Do it now. My God is able to save and deliver and heal and restore anything that he wants to. Just ask the man who was thrown on the bones of Elisha if there's anything that he can do. Just ask the stone that was rolled at the tomb in the garden what happens when God says to move. I feel him moving it now. I feel him doing it now. I feel him doing it now. Do it now. And this is the sound of trombones rattling. And this is the praise make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Riches beyond all measure could never satisfy my heart. Even the greatest pleasure only gratifies in part. All that this world can offer could never compare to all that you are. You are my greatest treasure, the desire of my heart. Whatever it costs me, I give it up freely. Whatever you ask me, I gladly release. And all that I have is yours to begin with. Lord, I surrender. I give you my heart. Jesus, my treasure, you are enough for me. Unveiling my imperfection, covering blemishes and stains, seeking step now till I see your face. I'll follow you, follow you in my life. Every breath, my plans, every step now till I see your face. I'll follow you, follow you. My life, every breath, my plans, every step now till I see your face. I'll follow you, follow you. My life, every breath, my plans, every step now till I see your face. I'll follow you, follow you. Whatever it costs me, I'll give it up freely. Whatever you ask me, I'll gladly release. 'Cause all that I have is yours to begin with. Lord, I surrender. I give you my heart. Jesus, my treasure, you are enough for me.
God, thank you for gathering us all here tonight. You have always been able to come and experience the impossible. God, you allow us to experience everything that has to do with all of your good. So tonight, if we can just set all of our distractions aside and just really hone in on the message you have for us tonight.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Hey, so do all of you know Taryn? Yeah, you and Taryn go back, what, 3 weeks? Something like that. So those of you who don't know, Taryn, she was a part of this youth group. She brought 35 different friends or more at one point. And I actually got to be a part of her small group. And we generally had around 20 or so in that small group. And so it was alive. It was alive. It was alive. So she's graduated last year. She's doing college. She's engaged to be married. It's kind of the thing to do, I guess. Hannah's doing it. I'm sure others are doing it. Not here. None of you. None of you. None of you. Oh, hey, by the way, we needed to make a recognition publicly that we have not done before. There is something that happened roughly 2 weeks ago, and it's newsworthy, but it was never really brought out in public. Maddie, she plays softball for Shepherd High School. She went 5 for 5, 5 at-bats, 5 hits, 1 home run, set a school record. Boom. That's a quadruple, whatever. Yeah. So basically, my coaching has helped. My coaching has helped. I used to play church softball, which is way above competitive high school stuff. Way, way, way above. And I think all of us at some point got hurt playing church softball. Just me? Okay, it seemed like a lot of people. I got hurt every year. I have, I do. I can do that. All right, so normally I start out, or I like to start out with a fun story, something kind of funny, something that really makes you think. However, I could come up with nothing. So we're done tonight. No, we're not. So I'm really sorry. I couldn't really come up with anything. I mean, I suppose I could have made up something, but that just doesn't seem right. I might get kicked out. So I'm sorry. I got no real good story, no funny story. So we're kind of just going to dive into it. Maybe I'll think of something along the way. We sure cannot. Sure can. Okay, so just make sure you guys are listening up. We're going to talk about Elijah. Yeah, we are. And we do have some slides. There's like 8 or 9 slides of scripture. And so instead of reading through all of it, I mean, if Blade is like really feeling like he needs to put slides up, he can, if he can follow. And I'm sure he can follow. But I thought maybe a little bit more so I would tell the story. And I actually put down some notes because sometimes I do some creative interpretation. And I thought I should stay away from that as much as possible. So we're going to be talking a little bit out of the book of 1 Kings chapter 18. And we've got really 2 dudes in this story. And the one, as you can tell, if you can read, and thank you, because I couldn't come up with it. It is Elijah. It is Elijah. So Elijah, he was a prophet of God. God talked to him. God had messages for different sets of people, for the Israelites, and he used Elijah for those. Hey guys, need you to listen up. Thank you. And so God used Elijah quite a bit. But as time went on, God became not quite as important. So then there's dude number 2 in this story. His name is Ahab, or we can call him King Ahab, because he was a king. Makes sense, doesn't it? So we have King Ahab. King Ahab did not follow God. He didn't do anything that God laid down in the past. In fact, he started leading the people in worshiping an idol. This idol was called Baal. So they had a god, his name is Baal. And I won't get into all the history of that because we don't have time, because I've only got an hour and 12 minutes to speak. So, right. So, 2 dudes. We got Elijah and we got King Ahab. So one day God tells Elijah, hey, you need to go find King Ahab and have a little chat with him. And so Elijah goes, and him and King Ahab connect up. And when Ahab sees Elijah, the first words out of his mouth are, is that really you big troublemaker of Israel? And Elijah responds back, not really sure what you're talking about there, Kingy, because you and your family are the real troublemakers. You have been doing stuff that is not what God has laid out for you. You've led the people into worshiping other gods, worshiping this god Baal. And so it was kind of, I think, a little tough for Elijah. Elijah and Ahab had a history, and it wasn't really good. In fact, Elijah, on any other potential day with King Ahab, could have been killed. That's how contentious at one point their relationship was. So this was a pretty bold move by Elijah to go check out and talk to King Ahab, knowing that Ahab would have no problem running a sword through him. Elijah then says, okay, here's what's been going on. You guys have been serving this idol Baal, but at times you serve God. In the past you've served God, and you kind of wishy-washy. You're kind of like back and forth. So we're going to settle something once and for all here. We are going to find out if Baal is the actual God or if the Lord is the actual God. So Elijah says to Ahab, I want you to gather up as many of the people of Israel as you can. I want you to gather up the prophets of Baal, which there were 450 of them. And so these were not cool dudes. I mean, but there was a lot of them. And there was also another group that worshipped a god called Asherah. We won't get into that, but there were 400 prophets of Asherah. So he says, okay, Kingy, I want you to go and get the 400 prophets of Baal, bring them to Mount Carmel, and I want you to bring the prophets of Asherah and as many people of Israel that you can to Mount Carmel, and we're going to settle something, like I said, once and for all. So here's what we got going on. We've got a king who was not following God, 450 prophets of Baal who were not serving God and were against God, 400 prophets of Asherah who were not following God and were against God, and then a majority of the people of Israel at that time were not serving God. So you have all these people who are against God, not serving God, and then you got one man, Elijah, who he was standing alone. He was known as the last standing prophet for God. Now, I'm not really great at math, statistics, probabilities, and all that stuff, but if there's going to be a little bit of a confrontation here, you got one man in Elijah, and then you've got 850 different prophets of these idols, these gods, and then all these other people. It doesn't really look very good in your favor if you're going to do a little challenge. Now, they weren't going to do a real throwdown, but in some ways it was kind of a throwdown. So Ahab, what he did is he called all these prophets of Baal and these other prophets and the people of Israel, Mount Carmel, that's the place we're all going. And so they all get there, and when they all get there, Elijah stands up, and it's an area that's, you know, your voice can really carry quite a bit. You're not up on a mountain, but it's mountainous. And so he gets up and he says, how much longer are you guys going to be wishy-washy? How much longer are you going to be fickle? You serve God at times, but you usually serve these false gods. So we are going to do something to end this once and for all, because if the Lord is God, you need to serve him. But if Baal is God, you need to go ahead and serve him. None of this back and forth stuff. And so, you know, everyone just kind of stands there, all the people, all the prophets, and they're like, all right. And then Elijah then lays out a plan or gives some instructions to the prophets of Baal. What he tells them is, what you need to do is go get 2 bulls, not bulls, cows, man cows. in case you were struggling with that. You need to go get 2 bulls, and then you get to pick the one that you want, and then I'm going to get the other one. And then what I want you to do is I want you to build an altar out of some rocks. I want you to go cut some wood, put it on this altar. Then I want you to take the bull that you have selected, cut it up into pieces, and put it on top of the wood. Sounds like a fun day. And so they said, okay, but he says, do not set it on fire. Do not light a fire. No fire at this point. And he goes, I'll do the same thing. And so then what they do is they go prepare the altar. They put the stones up, they put the wood on there, they cut up pieces of bull, put it on the altar, and then they stand there like, okay, now what, Elijah? We've done what you've said. And so he says, this is what I want you to do. I want you, here's our little contest. I want you to call out to your god Baal, and then I'll, in turn, after that, call out to the Lord. Whichever god lights this puppy on fire, that's who the real God is. And so the people go like, sounds legit. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So they do this, like I said, the prophets of Baal, they've got this all set up, and all morning long, the prophets of Baal, they start praying to Baal. Oh, Baal, you are the great Baal. You are the great God. Light this on fire. Show everybody how great you are. And they're going on and on. All morning long, they do this. There are 450 of them, chanting and just kind of petitioning their god Baal. And so then it gets to be noontime, and Elijah is kind of a man after my own heart. He starts to mock the prophets of Baal. And he says, hey, surely your God, Baal, he's really God, but, maybe you should shout a little louder because maybe he can't really hear you. He might be daydreaming. He might be taking a whiz. It's a real thing. It is a real thing. No. He might be on vacation or napping and just really can't hear you. So you need to shout a little louder. And so these very intelligent prophets of Baal, what do? They start to shout louder. And then they also start to, which this part is not wrong, I'm all for this next part, they start to dance. We're all for a little dance. And so they're shouting louder, they're calling out to Baal, they're dancing, and then at one point they get out their swords and their knives and they start to cut themselves until they're bleeding, which was kind of a ritualistic thing that they did. So they are screaming, hollering, shouting, cutting themselves. They're dancing. Titanium hips are very important when it comes to all afternoon dancing. And so all afternoon this goes on and into the evening, and nothing at all happens. And so Elijah goes, okay, enough of this. He goes, come on over here with me. And so Elijah walks over here. He grabs 12 stones, builds an altar. He gets his bunch of wood, puts it on top of the altar. He gets the other bull, cuts it into pieces, puts it on the altar. And then what he does is he digs a trench around the altar. So he's done the exact same thing that the prophets of Baal did, but he dug a trench around the altar, which, okay. Well, then Elijah says, I want you to go get 4 large jars filled with water. Now, we're not talking mason jars. They had jars, I don't know the exact dimensions. I wasn't born then. But they were like yay big around. He said, I want you to go grab 4 of those, fill them with water, and dump them on top of the bull pieces, the wood, and the altar that I have. So they go do that. And then he says, do it again. And so then they go and get 4 more jars full of water, dump it on there. And he says, do it again. And so for the 3rd time, they go get some more water, they dump it on there, and there was so much water that, it got everything all wet, the wood was wet, it's down the altar, and it filled the trench that was around the altar. So I think Elijah was saying, we're going to leave no doubt here. I mean, if God is going to come through, it's going to be in an extra big way. And so Elijah, he walks up to the altar and he prays, and he says, Lord God, I want you to show yourself that you are really the true God and that you are using me, your servant Elijah. Let everyone know here that it is you who are God. And he asked God, I need you to come through for me, and I need you to light this altar on fire. And so as he finished his prayer, the Bible says immediately that a flash of fire from heaven came down, and it basically consumed and burned up the bull, the wood, even some of the rocks. And it was so intense that it consumed and evaporated all the water that was in the trench around it. And when all the people saw this, they go, because they're brilliant people, wow, the Lord must be God. And then all of a sudden they fall down and they worship him. They said, the Lord is God, the Lord is God. So there's a few things. There was roughly 32 things I got out of this I wanted to share with you, but I condensed it to 3. Because Sapphire had this look on her face like, 32? 32? There are a number of things in here, but here's what I want you guys to get out of this. We as people, as humans, even sometimes those who are Christians, we so easily forget about God. Or maybe we really don't know God. So just like the Israelites, they had served God for a while, then all of a sudden they didn't. They're kind of back and forth. But we are a lot the same way. Even if at some point when God gets a hold of us, when Jesus comes into our life and changes us and we're living for him, but sometimes we forget who he is. We forget what he has done in our lives. And sometimes maybe we, like I said, we just don't even know him at all. So we let other things crowd God out. We let life crowd God out. And it gets to the point where God becomes a stranger to us. And we let other things and other people influence our lives more than we let God influence our lives. And, I've been in that boat too. There's times when you get so busy in life, so caught up in what you're doing, thinking certain things are so important that all of a sudden God becomes an afterthought. And, I think most of us have heard before that God, he's a mighty God. He's a powerful God. But if you are doing nothing in a relationship with him, he becomes a distant person to you. So sometimes we walk away from God. Sometimes we just don't know him anymore. The other thing that this is where we really wanted to hone in, probably more than anything else, is that God specializes in the impossible. Like the fire flashing down from heaven, consuming the altar and everything that was there. That was a pretty big thing, and Elijah could not do that by himself. He had nothing up his sleeve. He had no trick. He pushed no button to make this happen by himself. He needed God to come through for him in a big way. And just like Elijah, sometimes we're dealing with life. And life seems impossible. This is probably a really horrible illustration. I actually kind of thought about this afternoon a little bit, but it's a bad illustration. But let's do it anyway. I remember very clearly, because it was not that long ago, when I was in 4th grade. Recently. No, I didn't get held back 30 times, but anyway, when I was in 4th grade, we moved from a place, Tacoma, Washington. Actually went from Bothell, Washington to a place called Boring, Oregon. Yes, it was boring, in case you want to know. And so I was brand new to the school in 4th grade. And so as a new student, I come in, and I get placed. There was tables you sat at, 2 people to a table in the classroom. And I got to sit next to, I'm thinking his name was Todd, if I remember right. And Todd was a little larger, He had a little beef to him. And he was a funny guy, but for some reason, he kind of globbed on to me pretty quick, and I don't know, like he's going to be my protector or something. I don't know. But, and you probably don't know this, but kids can be kind of cruel. And so as the newbie on the 4th grade playground of Sandy Elementary, I was kind of a target, but, and you kind of had to be there because it was really kind of funny when you look back on it. You may not think so, but what would happen is Todd would come running to my rescue. So whether it was at the monkey bars, dodgeball, monkey bars, yes, I was a master monkey bar person, not a master monkey. But what Todd would do is if he saw people messing with me, he would run up to them, and he wouldn't just run up to them, say something. He wouldn't run or push them or anything. He just did basically a full body blow. I just, for some reason, I think of like Fat Albert, like Fat Albert's come and run, and he would just come running, and he would just, well, I'll put it nice, he would bump into people. No, he would flatten people. And so I was having actually a few times where this was a very difficult thing for me because being bullied, it was not a fun thing. I was not in 4th grade the massive man that I am now. Yeah. And so I was kind of a skinny little thing. And so Todd ended up, he came to my rescue many, many times. And so when I was having basically impossible situations, but Todd came and he rescued me. I think I love Todd. Yes. Okay. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. I suppose I could bring up, if you've seen like Lion King, Bowling for Buzzards, little Simba's laying on the ground, the buzzards all around him eating them, and here comes Pumbaa and Timon. They saved the day. Yeah, it was great. It was great. I won't get into that anymore because in days gone by, about 15 years ago, the youth group labeled me Timon. Going on here. Okay, so we have a God who can do the impossible, who can handle the impossible. And the other thing that this story brings out to me is that we can boldly and courageously stand for God even when no one else is. So Elijah, he stood alone for God. And God ended up doing a pretty incredible thing, partially because Elijah stood up for him. So I want to challenge you, ask God to help you stand up for him. Ask God to help you boldly and courageously stand for him. So I'm going to have Taryn come back. She's going to start playing, and she's going to lead us. Yeah. So tonight, here's the deal, guys. There are a lot of things in our world, in our lives, that seem impossible. Sometimes it's parent relationships. Sometimes it's teacher relationships. It's friends. Sometimes school is a challenge. Sometimes we just don't get where we fit in. And sometimes we just need the God of the impossible to come and maybe rescue us, to come and do the impossible, or if nothing else, walk us through the really tough situation. Because God will not pull us out of every situation and rescue us. Sometimes he says, hey, I'm walking through this with you. So maybe right now, a couple weeks ago we talked about David and Goliath. You've all heard the story. But maybe right now you are facing some kind of a giant in your life. Something that you can't really get around it, get past it. And maybe you just need God to come and take care of the giant for you. Maybe right now you just can't see past your pain and your emptiness and feeling alone in this world. but God can do the impossible. Whatever you're struggling with. And again, I'm not saying that everything in life, you snap a finger, it's going to happen. That's not the way life works. That's not the way God works. Sometimes he's trying to teach us something through the storm that we're in and that we're facing, and through the giants that are before us. But God can do the impossible. I mean, maybe it's even a healing. You know, you've been sick, or a family member's been sick, and you just need God to do something. You know, some of you seniors going on, you're going to be facing this giant of life after high school. And maybe God needs to do the impossible and show you the way that he has for you to go. And maybe you are struggling to live for God right now. Or maybe you're struggling to stand courageously for him. So maybe tonight you can just say, God, I need you to help me stand strong and be courageous for you. So where do we start? Sometimes we just need to be honest with ourselves and honest with God. And we just need to let him know that we need him and that we want him. And when we get to the point where we're saying, God, I can't do this on my own. I can't do this by myself. I need you. That's when God can come in and do the big things. He can do the impossible for you. So I want us to spread out. And Taryn's going to lead us in this next song. And however you just need to be dealing with God, whatever you need to ask of him, ask. Don't be afraid to ask God. Nothing's too little, nothing's too big. He is actually waiting for you to ask, so that potentially he can do that incredible thing and that impossible thing. So again, spread out, and Taryn's going to lead us in this next song.
So I just asked kind of if I could say something. He said I could, so that's good. But I really encourage you guys to spread out and don't gather near your friends. Don't take this moment away from other people to have self-reflection. And I just feel like this could be a really powerful moment for so many people's lives. And when Ken was talking about that story, I was just so thrown back to high school, where it's so hard to be 100% for the Lord. And sometimes you're just really caught in that space and that in between. And it reminded me of a verse that I'm sure you guys have heard referenced, but it's talking about being lukewarm. And God says he would rather you be either or. He'd rather you be 100% for him or not at all. And I was thinking about, and there's so many things we can talk about, your mission in life and what you're supposed to do and the reason, the purpose that you know the Lord and you're a Christian. But I just really got this message on my heart, and the reason that I think that you guys should take this time to just lean into the Lord, and it's not for some divine purpose right now, but it's because being in that in-between is exhausting, and it is really, really hard to try to provide your own purpose in life and to try to provide your own energy for living and to get through every day. And I know that in high school it can be so hard. And if anything, a reason to lean into the Lord in this moment is to relax. Because I know that so many of you guys are moving at 100 miles an hour. Just so fast. And every piece of energy you have is going into 1,000 different things in the day. And it is exhausting. And I just really feel that the Lord is wants you to just lean into him for no other purpose, not to expend more energy, not to give him something, but just to relax. Because it is so hard in this life. And just take this time to just really know that you're loved and to listen for his voice. Because it is so life-changing. anything that you can do. I just want you. And I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry when I just sang another song. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. And I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. I'm caught up in your presence, and I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never wanna leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything. And more than anything that you can do, I just want you. Just want you and nothing else, and nothing else, nothing else will do. I just want you and nothing else, and nothing else, nothing else will do. I just want you and nothing else, and nothing else, Jesus. I just want you. I just want you and nothing else, nothing else, nothing else will do. I just want you and nothing else. And nothing else, Jesus, nothing else will do. And I just want you, and nothing else, nothing else, nothing else will do. I'm caught up in your presence, and I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never wanna leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything. And more than anything that you can do, I just want you. I'm caught up in your presence, and I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never wanna leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything. And more than anything that you can do, just want you.
Never forget who it is that you serve, an incredible, mighty God. And also know that He is the God who can do the impossible, who can blow your mind. And also stand for Him. He stood for you. He died for you. I'm just going to end with, there's like one of my theme songs going on right now. It's called There's No Impossible with You. It's like one of my favorite songs right now. Some of the words are, there is no heart that you cannot rescue. There's no war that you can't win. No story that is so over that it cannot start again. No pain that you won't use. No wall you won't break through. It might be a little too much for me, but there is no impossible with you. Right now, you're fighting all my battles. Right now, you're breathing life again. And I know that you're mighty in my weakness. So let's go and let's reflect. Let's think about tonight, but let's be excited. Let's have a little bit of encouragement because we serve a God who can do the impossible. So I'm sorry, guys, we went a little bit long tonight. If you ever want to chat with any of us, for the most part, we're ready and able and willing. But we want you to know we love you guys. We care for you, and you mean the world to us. And God thinks the world of you. So you guys have a great rest of your week. Love you guys.